I just realized that the Restream bot still has the Owncast server in it, which doesn't exist anymore. Hi, welcome to 2025. Hi, Indiescape, I see you're here. Yeah, I should fix that. Anyway, hi, back, etc. How you doing, Jamie? Mike, hello, nice to see you. Mr. Chansey. I know who you are. Let me know if I sound okay. I, once again, had to rebuild the entire streaming setup, but it was much easier this time because I simplified everything, including this is the first time that we're going out to multiple RTMP destinations all from a single computer. So this is an interesting test. I hope nothing crashes. The multi-RTMP plugin for OBS is a bit janky. Also, I'm not running it under Linux, which the developer is not intimately familiar with, so who knows? We'll see what happens. Let me know if you can understand the words I'm saying, or I think this mic sounds a little blown out, but sound's coming in clear. Okay, good. Yeah, it's just that this mic in general is not great quality, so it always sounds a little fuzzy. It's not actually blown out, it's just fuzzy. Anyway, OBS janky, never, I know. Hey, what do you want for free, right? Jamie has spent his time with the RTMP mind, I'm sure. Yeah, here we go. Puppets, huh? We're building more puppets. I hope you had a decent enough New Year. I just realized this is a good angle for this shirt, because I'm sure I've worn this on stream or somewhere before, but if you only see this framing, right, you might think you know what this is, because it's if you're familiar with Star Wars, then you probably think, oh wait, that's the famous Empire Strikes Back. That's right. On brand, baby. There we go, that was fun. That's a good way to start this stream. I technically run a side stream service for small stream streamer friends. That's very nice of you. The reveal, I know, right? I finally got this camera at a good angle. I think this is perfect. This is just like, it's amazing how much just a little tiny bit of framing affects like everything. I think I actually look okay in this framing, whereas usually I don't. But anyway, and we still got the frog, and that's the important part after all. Hi, Jimmy. I was gonna say Jamie. Hi. Yes, do you want to say hello to the people in 2025? Let's see if we can get you up high enough. Here we go. Here he is. Yeah, I just had a fisherman's friend. He's not going to appreciate that. Star Wars with bears and pigs and chickens, exactly. Yeah, you're not crazy about this, are you? Okay. Too close to a throat lozenge. It's not a good place for a cat. Anyway, hi, I hope things are as good as they can be. I hope you're not in California. And if you are, I hope nothing of yours is on fire, because wow, that's a lot. My sympathies to the people in California. That's, oof. Yeah, anyway. This is where we are now in the 2020s, right? It's just like another horrible thing happens. It's like, yeah, what happened today? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, your foot fall off? Yeah, I know that sucks, huh? That's it. That's where we are. Jimmy is now relaxing on my lap. I have to go to work, buddy. This is not gonna work for me. I'm not hand sewing, so we can't do this. He often does this as I'm hand sewing. We go, ooh. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm having just a morning. One of those mornings. Anyway, thank you for being here. We got some stuff. So yeah, as Indiescape has already indicated, Thursday, what's up with that? If you're on the Discord, you may know that I've been speculating. Hang on, why did I ever settle on build streams on Wednesdays, because Wednesdays is actually kind of a bad day in terms of how the week usually goes for a build stream, because I'm in the middle of everything, right? So you're always going to see the same stuff, and B, it's always me in front of the sewing machine or something. It's never anything interesting. It's like the beginnings are interesting and the ends are interesting, but the stuff in the middle is just like whatever. It's just meh. We're just slogging through it. Because podcasts are on the weekend, keep your week balanced. It was something like that, but there was something else going on. I can't remember. I don't know. I think it was like work schedules or so. I don't know. I can't. Anyway, it doesn't matter because things are different now. So I'm gonna move the build streams to Thursdays. Thursdays make way more sense for a couple of reasons. One of them is I'm usually coming close to, if not at, the end of the week's builds for that week, which means I'm usually at the point of doing the facial features, or at least starting the facial features on Thursdays. And that is the fun part, right? So you're going to get to see the fun part more often if I do build streams on Thursdays. I try to wrap everything up by Thursday evening. So on Fridays, I do like, product photography and listings and website stuff and all the admin stuff. If I have to extend the builds into Fridays, I do, but Reacher said it in a blog, put it around last night before passing. I mean, good luck searching through my blogs. Thank you for trying, though. But yeah, anyway, Build Stream Thursdays is where we're landing for the foreseeable future until something changes. And thankfully, the 3D printer just finished and I think is now cool enough, because the stuff I'm doing today, buddy, I gotta ask you to get off my lap now. I gotta move around. There we go. Thank you. Let's see if we can get these off the build plate. Get fresh and hot off the build plate. We got some puppet eyes here. Smell that freshly baked puppet eye. Because I am built to start the year, I had no Greeblies left on the shop, and of course it's me. I gotta have some Greeblies. There's always got to be some Greeblies. Greeblies are like the foundational state of being for Operation Puppet. So we're finishing 2 Greeblies today. That is the thing. I didn't do I didn't do like a full real camera check. Oh well, the cameras are framed properly. I guess we'll find out. I know this one is. This was the one I worked on. And the good part is I now have the teleprompter on this camera. And I'm really bad at using it. I used it for my year-end wrap-up video, and it felt to me like I was, in a high school play. I'm just like, and I am doing these lines that I am speaking. Anyway, these turned out good. Layer lines there, look at that. Anyway, let's talk about the puppets. How about? Because clearly I've had enough coffee. I've had too much coffee. As the people are slowly filtering in, that's good. So far, nothing's crashed. We've been streaming for a total of 11 minutes and nothing has crashed. So let's go with it. I think we're doing well. Thank you, Pop! OS, for not crashing. Thank you, OBS and Pop! OS. Okay, also new music. It is still Streamtunes, but it's just new. Like Streamtunes releases like a lot of stuff. So these are all displaying through Apple Music, but they are, in theory, licensed for streaming. I guess we'll find out if anything gets muted. Won't get it muted on PeerTube, I can tell you. It should be fine, but these are from the content creator albums, so I know I haven't listened to them all. Some of them seem to be rather energetic, probably a little too non-chill for puppet building, but we'll find out. And if anything stands out, I'll just take it out of the playlist. Okay, that's enough of me. How about puppets? Yay! Not really in frame, but still puppets. Oh, here, you want to see this? This is the new pin cushion that my wife got me as a stocking stuffer. Huh? Not bad. Yeah, his name's Donald. Huh? Anyway. Yep, boom, there's your political content for the puppet stream. Chokmuju, nice to see you. See, I knew moving the build streams to Thursdays would help more people watch. No, I didn't. I had no idea. But it just seems to be working out that way, so. Nice to see you again. It's been a while. Instead of puppets, you should go wire up to Mr. Pie and play some games, the chat recommends. You know, that kind of thing is probably coming down the pipe, as we will talk about on the upcoming podcast that we are recording on Friday. And it's probably going to be a long one, judging from the show notes. We may pare some stuff down before we start. But anyway, puppets. You're here for the puppets. We're all here for the puppets. So what I'm doing now, as you can see, I have finished. You know what? This would be the better camera. There we go. Wow, that's really. Excuse me, it's going to get shaky cam for a second, but let me just frame this up a little bit more helpfully. Deck Nook is thicker than Scottish porridge. Yep, it sure is. As you can see, I've actually tidied bits of the shop as well. This is among the things that were done during the vacation that wasn't really. We'll go into that on the podcast. It was not a relaxing time, let's just say. So yeah, we got two Greebly bases here. This is the point I get to when I decide what are they actually going to look like? What are the facial features going to be? I think for purposes of this stream, we should pick one, finish that, and then move on to the other. Sometimes I'll do them kind of both at the same time, but just to make sure that we at least get one completely done on the build stream. Now, the one that will go quicker is this one with the fur already. The one without the fur, this one's going to get like a collar and stuff. This is going to take a little bit longer. So I'm more tempted to work on the green and beige one first. CES, yeah. So let's do that. I'm not even asking chat. I'm just making an executive decision. Look, I'm in charge. This is probably what Frankie says. Or Frankie say, hey, wow, Kevin's going. All right, I'm gonna put this Greebly on the floor over here. You see, this is a little behind the scenes stuff. This is where things go when they go off camera. This is where they go on the floor. Frankie say relax. Frankie say a lot of things. Usually in my head. So the first thing I'm going to do is here's one of my puppet building. It's not really a secret. One of the things I often do when I've glued the mouth plate in and I've got everything sort of seated the way I like, I let it sit overnight with a chip clip on it, just to make sure that the glue really kind of fuses with the lining. So there's like a lot of pressure on it, like all night. And then it's usually fine. Sometimes you'll find that this can start to lift away from the mouth plate because the mouth is opening and closing a lot. So this is something I have learned from experience. So my apologies to people who bought puppets from me before I started doing this. I don't remember when I started doing this anyway. Here we go. Hello. Hi ho. No, don't say that. We don't want that. So I got two style of eyes. I don't know if we just start with the eyes. Oh, you know what? I just realized. Unless I decide that I'm gonna like punch holes in these, which is not the preferred method, I am gonna have to open the window, which is a problem because it's really cold. I had to do a bunch of gluing on Tuesday for both of these, and I had to do it in like stages because it's so freaking cold out that I would have to like open the window, put on the gear, glue, leave the room, shut the seal of the chamber, shut the door, it's not snowing. We've only got a little dusting of snow, but it's not snowing, but it's really cold. So I would leave the room, let it vent, then go back in the room, open the door, close the window, let the room warm up a bit more. Too cold to snow, the Toronto story, yes. Let the room warm up and then just repeat the cycle. I had to do that like 3 times. Otherwise, it was intolerable. And I can't wear, like gloves because I'm wearing latex gloves and I have to feel what I'm doing. So it's like, it was not pleasant. And it's going to get not pleasant again because we are, of course, going to want to burn the holes for the eyes to mount. Only in one of them, though, because I'll show you. Let's go to the overhead cam for this. Move our Greebly out of the way here. So I got 2 style of eyes that I usually do for a Greebly. It was really cold here today. Not quite enough for ice, but enough. I actually wore a coat. Oh, mate. Yeah. you should, it's one of those, like throw a pan of water in the air and it just vaporizes, So I got 2 styles of eyes that I usually do for your bog standard Greebly, which is what these are. These are going to be quite standard Greeblies. Again, this is like the staples that I always try and have on the shop because people always want them. And they're fun to build. They're kind of my signature thing. So we've got, of course, the hemispherical eyes, hot and fresh off the 3D printer, and we've got the spherical eyes. These are the Stacy Gordon Puppet Pie EVA spheres, which I really, really love. So I'm probably going to do the sphere eyes on the blue one because I realized just in November I had also done an all blue, all fleece Greebly with hemispherical eyes. And I try not to repeat myself too much. So we're gonna save the spheres for the blue one. And we're gonna go with the hemispheres for the green one. The other thing we're gonna hear some tongues. I'm not actually sure what my tongues stock. Huh? My 2025 is the return of the nerdy. Good question. You know what? It's been a while. You're right. I think I've only made 1, possibly 2 of those. That's not a bad idea. I do want to do some stuff that I haven't done a lot of. I haven't had any time to prototype anything new, which is unfortunate, but I do want to do stuff that I don't do all the time. So, definitely some goblins are on the agenda. A Neef or 2 is on the agenda, and I think the Nerdy is a good idea. I think that's Jimmy just brought another. You brought another toy in here. He's got 2 right now. He keeps bringing them in. Why did I stand up? I stood up for reasons. Oh yes. Kevin's a bit scattered. Can you tell? Tongues. my bucket of tongues. Okay, good. We have some appropriately sized and colored tongues. So we have usual heart-shaped, Kermit-y style ones like that. And we've got the rounded ones like this. And I think the rounded blobby ones, blobby is going to go with the blue. Blue blob, see? Alliteration matters. So we'll go with the heart-shaped for the green one here. Can you suggest what best to fill a 55mm ping pong ball for the eyes? Fill? I personally wouldn't fill it with anything because anything you fill it with is going to make it heavier. So do you mean like, are you having trouble mounting it, or like what's your reason for filling it? Oh, we got a new follower. Yoring96, Loring, possibly Loring. I don't know if that's an L or if it's a capital I. Anyway. Seems like maybe a spam bot to me. I don't know if JB is in a position to do anything about this. Yes, to mount. Okay, good. That's a good question. So that's one of the reasons why, rather than using ping pong balls, I like these EVA spheres, because they are very, very light and they're solid, and you can literally just like put a screw in them and you're done. But for a ping pong ball, what I usually do, and I just so happen to have a kind of example we can look at here. This is the big one. This is the 55 millimeter. Sorry, sus person, if you actually exist, PM me. There you go. Thank you, Jamie. Demon Dreamer, nice to see you. Let's switch to this camera, which is at the wrong angle, so I'm afraid we're gonna have to get shaky cam here. But we'll just tilt this up a little bit and you can see more of my wonderful shirt. Sorry about that. That probably looked terrible. Anyway, so we've got this 55 millimeter ping pong ball, and as you can see, I've already got a hole in it. This one's actually was going to go in a eyebrow mech. Words hard. This is the kind of bracket that I usually use if I'm mounting spherical eyes. It's just a little piece of plastic. It's got a couple of holes in it. And I put a couple of wood mounting screws in it. But this will serve for the demonstration purposes. So, let's say you've got your ping pong ball and you put a hole in the ping pong ball. That's step one. And then you take your ping pong ball and you screw it down. So assuming this is mounted in and on the head somehow, and you've got the screws poking up, which is how I always do it. I always sort of sandwich this between the foam and the fleece, or the fur, whatever the skin is. So you can literally just take this and screw it down, right? Now the problem with that is this will probably be a little, like, it's can kind of wear down, this can move around a little bit. This is not the most stable. So what I used to do before I started using the EVA spheres, and I do try to do that for all spherical eyes now, but if I don't have them, what I will do, let me just take this off, is, let me see if I have any. It's been a while since I used them, but you can get glue syringes. I just got these. You can get them in craft stores. I'm sure I got these on eBay. I don't know if I have any more, actually. Oh yes, here we are. Okay. This is going to look a bit medical. My apologies. But yes, it's genuinely just a syringe and hot melt plastic. No, yeah, definitely not, because it's a ping pong ball and it will straight up melt the ping pong ball. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is use some kind of non-hot glue, some kind of heat-free glue. So what I usually use, this is no longer liquid. It's been sitting here so long. Oh, maybe it is. Anyway, I usually use something like this. This is fabric glue. And so the nice thing about this is it has some flex, so it's not going to crack, right? When it sets, it's not going to set as a single solid chunk. It's going to have a little bit of flexibility to it. So as the puppet moves and stuff, this isn't going to crack and just like come off. So what I'll do, the syringes come with these little nozzles, needle bit. You just screw those in and you literally just put the glue in a little cup or something, and you suck up some of the glue, and then you literally inject it into the ping pong ball. I know, it's very medical. And then you screw this down on the bracket. So let's say you've injected the glue in. Then you screw it down on the bracket and you let it sit. And what's going to happen is before the glue sets, it's going to pool in the bottom, and it's going to pool around the screw that's inside. And that way it'll set up and it will just hold it there. So this will be, if you do the glue injection method, this will be much more stable than just trying to screw a ping pong ball down onto a screw. It's just a little bit of extra insurance. I'm not saying it's foolproof. Nothing is foolproof, but it will help. So that's my whole mounting a ping pong ball thing. Did that help? I hope so. It was good that I had all these things on hand to finally do a practical demonstration. Let's go back to the top camera here. So there we go. That is what I would do. We'll put the syringe away from the eyes of law enforcement. And the glue. He's got glue and syringes. What kind of life is this? Anyway, Fabric Fusion, my favorite jazz subgenre. Yeah. Thelonious Monk was big into Fabric Fusion. So yeah, what we need to do, so I've got, these are my my hemisphere eyes, and these are of course my custom 3D printed ones. So these just have a little threaded peg that they screw down onto. These are super nice to mount because they go on clean, and inside, since this is what's holding it on inside, there's nothing poking into the performer's hand. It's all just nice and flush. So you're welcome, man. It's a good question. I hope it helped. So this is what I always use for hemispherical eyes. Again, having the 3D printer is such a time saver, and just like allows you a degree of flexibility that you never had before. It does end up being a bit of when all you have is a hammer, every problem almost like a nail situation, but it's still good to have that hammer, you know. So what we need to do, I'm about to sneeze. Is he gonna sneeze? Look at the light. Hey, he hit the mute fast enough. Bless me. What was I gonna do? Oh yes, we have to make holes. We have to make holes. I'm gonna sneeze again. Jimmy's looking at me weird now. You should. Weird things are happening. You're correct. Hi. Yeah? Anyway. This is one of those energetic songs. This is the problem. The music is jazzing me up. I guarantee you it's not. Yes, James. What? I think Jimmy wants to be in my lap again. No, buddy, I'm working. Yeah, and don't be messing around with stuff on the carpet. This is the problem. It's like having a toddler, I assume. Yeah, go play with one of the toys you brought in. How about that? Did you consider that? No, he would definitely not consider that. He wants to interrupt me. We have to make holes in the head of the puppet in which to mount the eyes. There's one, as always, one of two ways to do that. We can poke a hole with a sharp stick made of metal, like an awl. We can give it our all, huh? Look, this is it. These are the jokes, folks. You want better jokes? You gotta pay for them. What? Yeah, I know. Jimmy, he's always the critic. So we either gotta poke a hole or we gotta burn a hole. Burning the hole is preferable because you get a better hole. To phrase it indelicately. So, that's what we're gonna do. Which means I gotta open the window. Ghost of Boatfeld, you're only slightly late for the first stream of the year. I'm just getting started, so you haven't really missed anything. You missed a practical demonstration of how one would mount a ping pong ball on a puppet head. There's always the VOD. So don't worry, that's on PeerTube for those of you who aren't seeing the chat. No, I haven't even attempted to bridge the chats yet. Add it to the list, you know? I need more lozenge. Maybe it will keep Jimmy away. To learn about the poking versus burning phase, visit kevinsbetterhole.com. Please do not go there. Yeah, definitely don't go there. Operation Puppet does not vouch for anything you might find at any URL you just happen to type in that JB suggests. We've done the burning thing. I'm trying to find a reason to not open the window. This is pure rationalization at this point. But we've done the burning whole thing a lot. And maybe we should do the poking thing because some people don't want to burn. Understandable that you wouldn't want to burn, particularly if you're in California. So maybe we should poke. Let's poke. I want to poke. This is it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get there. Yeah, thank you. The minus load rationale. JB's off to buy a URL. Good luck with that. If that's actually available, you better buy it. I don't care how much it costs. Whatever AI is watching the stream right now has already purchased it. Okay, we're gonna poke. I don't want to open the window. No window means poke. That's what that means. This is not the best method, but it'll still work. And it is good to see for people who don't understandably want to burn, want to set fire to things in their place of residence. So let's do that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna look at our puppet. I know this is kind of a weird camera angle. It is available for only $10 a year on Namecheap. Yeah, $10 to start. I guarantee you that will go up. Not worth it. Is this a better camera angle for this? Maybe. Let's start with this and we'll see. So the first thing I do, I'm gonna have to stand up for this so you'll see my shirt. So I just kind of look at the head, and this is another case where the clip might come in handy because I always want to close the mouth for when I'm sort of figuring out what the eye position should be, just so it will sit. Kevin's better hold .ai for $80 a year. Good heavens. If only we knew that years ago. We could make a fortune from Sam Altman. So there we go. We've got the mouth mostly closed, and this just means that the head is going to sit more kind of naturally to how it would be when the puppet is in operation mode, as it were. So I just kind of look at it and we go, okay, well, I'm gonna open this up so we have a kind of good reference for where the center is because we've got the peg in here. It's like OBS to do. Oh yeah, I don't think so. And of course we always have a center line. In this case, the fabric center line is kind of off a little bit. Let me see if I can get those to line up. As I was putting the skin on, it kind of shifted a little bit, as it'll do. And I don't generally worry about that too much. Like, let's do a little bit of seam blending right here. See if we can see that a bit better on the top cam. Maybe. We're just kind of poking those fibers out of the seam. This isn't going to be perfect. It never is. Perfect is the enemy of good. But we're just going to blend this a little bit. I don't like going too nuts with my seam blending just because you can end up with a big mess. In my experience, having a little bit of a seam is preferable to having a big mess. And potentially breaking stitches. It's a little better. All right, that'll do. So, you know what? This is not a bad camera angle for this either. We can do it like this. So we've got our head kind of in position. Try and make it steady. And I usually take the eyes and I just kind of place them. And see what feels right. Do they want to go more forward? Do they want to go more back? This camera angle is not actually great for this because you're seeing some foreshortening that makes it look different than how it looks in real life. This, to my eyes, looks pretty perfect. Let me switch to the wide camera. There we go. Yeah, you see? That looks pretty good. So what I usually do, and again, you can measure, who does that? Psychopaths and Phil Fletcher do that. That's who. I just sort of eyeball it. Yeah, get it? And I get them to where they just kind of make visual sense to me. And then I'll hold them in place and I'll take one away. And the nice thing about these is you can't really see it. You can a little bit. There's an impression of where the rim of this was. And if I kind of push it in there, there's an impression of the rim and also the center. And that's great because it means we have a center point to mark. So I usually just put a pin in there. Now, if you don't have the ability to make an impression or something and you still want to try and get to the center point, what I usually do is I just lift it up a little bit. I keep it steady, and I lift it up a little bit, and I just kind of visually say, okay, there. I put a pin where the center is, and then I take that away. Now this pin, of course, is going to be at a weird angle because you've hooked it in on the side. So I take another pin, put it at a 90-degree angle, and then take the first pin away. And now we have a couple of pins in about the right places. Now you can look at it, just do another visual inspection and go, okay, we've got a more precise measurement here with these smaller points, right? And it looks like, to me, this one is a little too far forward, or this one's a little too far back. We gotta try and even those out, which is easy. You can just, and then that looks better to me. Okay, now, to poke the holes, first thing I want to do is mark where I'm going to do the poking. And I do use a color that is at least similar to the color of the fleece, just in case it goes wrong. You never know. So I pull the pin partly out. I know it's a little tough to see that, but maybe the upper. I need like camera people that like just switch automatically. Anyway, so I pulled the pin partly out. Back this up here. And I'm just gonna put a little mark. Can you see my head? Of course you can. A little mark around the base of the pin, and now I can pull it out, and we've got a mark there where it is. And likewise. So there we go. We've got our two hole positions now marked where we want to make our mounting points. So, moment of truth. Get your pointy stick. And this is where it can get a little dangerous, and this is why I say maybe the face cam would be better for this, actually, because it's kind of close work, right? So, fire is dangerous, as we all know. This is dangerous too because it's a sharp, pointy piece of metal, right? There's no way to make a hole in a thing that doesn't involve some degree of risk. So, this is the other way to injure yourself. What I usually do, and there's probably way better ways of doing it. I put my hand inside and I kind of get my fingers lined up around the general area. And then I take the initial poke through and then I kind of hold it inside. That's a little disturbing. Now, this hole by itself is going to be big enough because the peg that has to go through it has some girth. I'm sorry. Blame Jamie for getting the word girth stuck in my head for reasons. And So we've got the awl in there, and then what I generally do, this is where it gets a bit, I just kind of swirl it around and push against the edges and open that hole up a little bit. And there we go. Now we've got hopefully a big enough hole to push that peg through. You want to be careful, obviously, but there's no way to do this without, because you are like literally destroying material. But you don't want to do a lot of tearing. You don't want to do a lot of, this is one of the reasons why the awl is better than cutting a hole, for example, is because when you cut the fabric, it can start to sort of unravel and come apart. Poking a hole is much safer in that regard because you're just sort of forcing the fibers apart. All right, here we go. Hopefully that will do. Is our music like over? I thought I put the playlist on endless, but maybe I didn't. Let's see, one moment, please. Build stream, shuffle. I did put it on endless, it didn't endless. This song is called Dance All Night. Ethan, finally made it this time live. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. Okay, here we go. So we've got our holes in the eyes. Maybe we should go to the top cam again. And now it's a matter of sort of finding the hole you made and kind of working it through. The hole is going to be smaller than the thing. That's okay. You definitely want it that way rather than the other way around. You don't want the big gaping hole in a little thing. And context theater, huh? But we're just kind of working it around and might need to open this up a little bit more, but maybe it'll be fine. The stretchier your fleece, the easier this will be, of course, because the fleece will kind of stretch around. Here we go, it's starting to go now. But that's what's nice about these peg and shaft things is like, and now I can kind of push up inside as I'm working the fabric and foam around the shaft. Say peg, not shaft, Kevin. I'm sorry, Operation Puppet doesn't usually work this blue. It's the new year, it's 2025, nothing matters. All right, so same deal for the other side. This one looks like it might be a bit easier. Yeah, oh sorry, I was off camera. Once again, it's hard to do this and keep things on camera. Adds a layer of complication to the work I don't normally have. So if you're going to mount them with dull joints, for example, it's exactly the same method. You'd just be poking a dull joint peg up through here. I just happen to have these nice custom-made 3D printed ones, so. But use what you've got. Okay, there we go. So now that I've got these weird pegs, then the nice thing about the way that these work is because these have a threaded shaft on the inside, as you can see. It's called a shaft, it just is. Then you can just literally screw it down and tighten it up, and there we go. One mounted eye. Pretty good. And of course, the nice thing about this is this means they're removable. It's still quite solid and quite stable. It's not going to go anywhere until you move it, but it also means that you're not committed. you can change things around if you want. There we go. That's it. That's all that is. super, super fast and quick and easy and good. Everything is fine, everybody. It's 2025 and everything is fine. Okay, let's do the tongue, because that's lots of stuff could be the next thing. What do you use for rubber mouth plates in your Kermits? Red rubber sheet. So the thing about the rubber for any flexible mouth plate, like Kermit, for example. So in the two Kermits that I have made, yes, I did use gasket rubber, which is kind of the traditional standard stuff. Whenever you know, on the places where people discuss these topics, you'll often hear them say gasket rubber, which is among the red rubber sheets. In fact, I may actually have some easy to hand. Let's see. Let me see. What have I got in the big bin of mystery here? I do, in fact. So I ended up getting and experimenting with two different kinds of gasket rubber. As I was, and it literally took me about a year to come up with a final Kermit build and design and all that stuff that I was happy with. But the red stuff, which is probably the stuff that you've seen a lot, this is 1/8 inch, and this I found was a little too thick, a little too stiff, because once you had the fabric on here as well, it just was so bulky that it never did. It never did feel right. It didn't feel, Kermit should be nice and flexy, and this never felt right. This stuff that I found, I honestly don't remember where I found this stuff. This is also gasket rubber. You can tell. It smells. You know that smell when you say, "Oh, that's rubber." This is what this smells like, and it's really obvious. This is 1/16 of an inch, and because of that, way more flexible. Now, what I found was this was too flexible, and the head would just kind of like fold up and not look right. You could like see your fingers kind of poking through it, which was a bad look for Kermit, I can tell you. So what I ended up settling on was taking two of the 1/16 inch and kind of laminating them together with barge. And despite the fact that, you know, a 16th and a 16th is an 1/8, so it ended up as the same thickness as this, it retained more flexibility, which was just right for what I wanted for the Kermit. Gasket rubber is one industry standards 1/16. Thank you, Jojo. Nice to see you as well. So that's what I ended up using for my Kermits. Now, if you're doing any flexible mouth plates, and I often will do, in fact, these Greeley's have flexible mouth plates. I don't have any of their mouth plates, not currently in a puppet. Since I got the 3D printer, what I'm doing is I'm actually 3D printing them in TPU filament. And TPU is flexible. It's rubbery. Pausing the live stream. That did me a lot of good. I forget I can just mute it. Right, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about live streams. Clues in the title. So yeah, nowadays I don't use gasket rubber for any flexible mouth plates at all. I use 3D printed TPU, but if that's not an option available to you, then yes, gasket rubber will probably do. The other thing that I used to use before I started doing the 3D printed TPU, don't know if I have any anymore. Oh, yes, I do. These may be even easier to find and more accessible for you because they're everywhere and they're quite useful. And the problem with rubber in general is that it is really hard to put glue on it and have the glue stay. Sometimes people accidentally will get silicone rubber instead of gasket rubber, and glue literally is designed to not stick to that. So there's only a special silicone adhesive that will stick to silicone and nothing else, including barge. But if you want to do flexible mouth plates, and sometimes it can be hard to find gasket rubber, it's not used a lot in plumbing anymore. So yeah, you have to sand it. Yes, exactly. And the thing that the sanding does is it roughs up the surface and it gives the glue something to hold on to. That's still not great. Like, it's still trying to push the glue away. You're just kind of forcing it not to. What I would often use before I got the 3D printer are these. These are flexible cutting mats. These are super cheap. You get these in dollar stores. These have just the right amount of flex and are plastic, and you can cut them with scissors. Like, these ended up being way more preferable for my purposes than gasket rubber. So that's another option for you for flexible mouth plates. And again, flexible mouth plates in general. It's not to be Kermit. It could be any flexible mouth plate. So there you go. That's the flexible mouth plate lecture. But like I say, these days it's all 3D printed for me. Ain't going back. Can't go back. What were we gonna do? We're gonna do a tongue. Hello. I am also out of coffee, which is probably a good thing based on how I'm feeling, but I want more. We're almost at an hour in here. We're only gonna finish one Greebly, that's for sure. I want to finish these both today, but I need more coffee. This is empty. I'm gonna take a break, get more coffee, which is a really good idea, and I should really do it. Anyway, I'll be right back. So I feel like I'm in the middle of a marketing video. And now I want to do the Gus voice. Hi, I'm back, I got coffee. And now everything is fine. Okay, the tongue. The puppet tongue. So, already selected one. This is obviously one that I had pre-cut. These were all cut. This is craft foam. If I'm not doing a carved foam tongue, I generally use craft foam. It's got a bit of thickness to it, but it's also easy to work with, easy to cut, etc. These were all cut on a Cricut, which is evil. I absolutely hate my Cricut, but it is the only tool that is currently available readily to me that will do this kind of precision. And it's going to be interesting when I go to cut more. Did the music stop again? What is going on? What did I get for counting on Apple Music? Can we try this again? Thank you. Should have known better. If I had the wherewithal and the resources, I would absolutely get like metal dies made in my standard tongue shapes and sizes, just so I could take a hammer and just go bang and like stamp these things out, because the Cricut is awful. When it works okay, but it's so wasteful, and the software is unbelievably annoying. And I also don't know. Hello, Jimmy. Yes. Okay. Come here. Well, yeah, at some point I got to pick up a vinyl cutter or custom stamp. Yeah. Yes. I would strongly advise against anybody ever buying a Cricut. They're just bad and evil. And Jimmy's yelling at me. I don't know. What do you want? What do you want? Do you want to come over? No? You're a cat. You don't know what you want. Anyway, yeah, Cricuts are bad. Don't get them. However, since I've already got these done, I'm going to have to bust the thing out and try and make another batch of tongues at some point. They're also how I cut my Kermit pupils, FYI. That was a nightmare. That took forever to finally get two that I could use. But once again, there's no other way to do it with that kind of precision without like a metal die that you can stamp. So yeah, anyway, I got these, I'm gonna use them. Yes, Leia also full of proprietary garbage. Absolutely it is. That's why it'll actually kind of be interesting to see if I can get it to run under Linux, because I mean, I use Wine and or Proton, and maybe I can get it to run under Linux, but then, you know, the PC in the studio here is Linux, so unless I want to, like, I don't know, put Windows on a laptop I own, which I don't, I don't really have a Windows machine that I can easily get my Cricut to, so I guess we'll find out. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, you know what, let's go to the little handheld camera here so you can see. So this is it. This is the tongue. This is not the tongue because the camera's in the bad position. There we go. So this is the tongue, and I'm just gonna take a marker that is a slightly darker color, and we're gonna give it a little shading. This is what I usually do, and what I start with is usually the center line. And I go down not quite halfway. I just kind of shade it in, and just give a little center line, like that. And then I start shading the back. This is a real standard Muppety kind of design. And I just kind of put it around the edge, a little framing thing. And you can make these, you know, thicker or more shallow, depending on the character and the shape of the tongue and what you're going for. This is a surprisingly effective way of kind of customizing. It doesn't seem like it should, on the surface, create that much of an impression, but it really does. It's quite surprising how much just a simple tongue of a different shape inside a puppet mouth will matter. People don't realize, I mean, because it's a puppet, you're generally looking in, around, or at its mouth. So everything you do will add to the characteristics of it. So now that I've got this, and it's not, you know, a super neat job or anything, and that's okay. For the ink, because this is just a marker, right? Before the ink dries, I just grab one of my little makeup applicators here. And you could also damp this down with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. It will make this a bit easier. This is usually fine because this ink tends to not dry too quickly. But I just kind of smooth it out and we just shade it a little bit. And so this will give a little bit of a softer edge. And with the middle line, I'll generally sort of push it down that way. And it will sort of fade and create a nice little gradient. I know it seems silly to spend so long on what seems to be a minor detail, but this is where it really matters. And this is where you can make your builds really create a first impression that people don't even necessarily know why they're responding the way they do. You just know, this is where you get the O factor. And there we go. So it's got a nice kind of soft edge. And that's it. That's all I do. And then we'll drop hot glue, pop it in the mouth. Simple as that. And you can, of course, cut the tongue out with just a pair of scissors, just make a little template out of cardboard or something and cut it with a pair of scissors. The thing about the Cricut is because it's so precise, the lines are so clean, it's pretty much impossible unless you have unbelievably like a surgeon's, steadiness to get this kind of precision by hand cutting something. At least I can't. Maybe you have superpowers. I hope you do. I hope you use them for good. But, so let's just drop a little piece of hot glue in there and put the tongue in the mouth. Token priceless. A couple of emojis. Suspicious. I don't know if Jamie's standing by, but keep an eye on that. So I don't cover the whole thing. That would be a mistake. You just want to I just put a little bit in the center. And then try and align it so it's even. And when you're putting the tongue in, I sort of look around the edges here and sort of see, because we haven't spread the glue all over, we can kind of move it around a bit before the glue sets. Once you got it in the position you like, thank you. Then you just kind of hold it down. You let that set, don't touch it until the glue sets up. But what we're gonna do in the meantime is decide on what we want the hair. The hair is gonna be the next part. We're not doing the pupils until the last because that's where the magic happens. So for Greebly hair, I often will do a sort of standard design where I take some of the body fur color and then some feathers, some fringe. Now I definitely don't have any fringe that's this color. I'm not quite sure what I have. I know I don't have much. Let's have a look in the general bag of stuff and see what I've got. If I've got some green, that would be okay here too, because it's got green skin. I don't know that I have any green though. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I've got quite a lot, and it's a kind of a khaki green too, which goes well with the green of this. Never mind, problem solved. I don't remember when I got this or why I got this, but I got this. Let's have a look at that. Oh, that's actually pretty good. This is going to be a good combo. So this is your standard ostrich fringe. You can get at any craft store or anything like that. This is all old stock I already had. We talked before about the fact that there are, unfortunately, ostriches are farmed not for their meat, but for their feathers, and so a lot of the meat goes wasted, and that's real bad. Army Greebly, yeah. That's gonna look pretty good. Okay. We'll go with this. So I'm trying not to buy any new feathers. I won't buy new feathers unless I have a specific order to do them with. Jamie a while ago found a place that apparently has cruelty-free feathers. Unfortunately, they're in the States, and so they're super expensive for me to order from. But I should dig that link up and have somebody else investigate if that is in fact the case. I don't know how you'd tell, but you know. This is the fact that they're at least aware of the problem. So what I do is I take a length of it and I try and get this mouse out of the way. What are you doing here? I try and give it quite a lot of feathers, because this is where you get a lot of great secondary motion, right? The one I work at sadly doesn't carry even fake ones. Well, that's the other thing, right? It's there are synthetic feathers as well, but they're also expensive and hard to find. So I give it a good length. I generally don't measure this or anything. I just kind of eyeball it and go, all right, let's use this much. And if I want to use more, I'll just add more on. So I'll just cut it there, and what I do then, we'll set this aside because we may want more. Move the puppet out of the way so I don't accidentally get hot glue on it. That's never happened before. Let's move everything out of the way because we're going to be playing with hot glue, which is, of course, as always, dangerous because it's hot. Hot melt. Okay, here we go. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna put a little bit of glue in a line down the ribbon that this is mounted on. Let it cool for just a second and then start rolling this up, keeping my fingers away from the glue if possible. So I will definitely be burning myself momentarily for your amusement. You ever planning on once again taking on the impossible task of gluing your lip lines? I absolutely want to. It's always a chance. Hello, Della, nice to see you. It's always a trial between like getting enough stuff built for the shop and then also trying new stuff or trying to practice stuff like that, right? Because I gotta, this is my only source of income, so I have to prioritize the shop stuff first. So if there's ever time, absolutely, I will attempt that again. But we'll see. Dylan's an animator, very nice. All right, so put a little line of hot glue, let it cool for just a second, then very carefully start rolling it up. And it doesn't have to be like a roll, like I'm basically folding it. It'll turn into a roll as time goes on. And I'm gonna be making puppets too. There's a good cross discipline there. I found that the reason I even started thinking of puppets again was because I was doing a little bit of animation and I realized that I was calling on puppetry instincts because I was using a cutout style of animation. And just sort of the language of movement is exactly the same. So once you know one, it helps with the other. Who was it? There's somebody, one of the Fraggle Rock puppeteers. Oh golly, I've forgotten her name. Who does Red? She actually ended up being like a professional 3D animator as well. My name is Kevin Blades. Nice to meet you. Karen Prell, thank you. Yes, Karen Prell is who I was thinking of. Yeah, she ended up working at Valve. I think she worked on the Orange Box. She worked on like some of the stuff for Portal. Pretty sure. I know she worked at Valve. Okay, here we go. So this is pretty good. I think I'll just do this whole thing. These are, when it comes to feathers, Karen Prell. How could you forget Karen Prell? I didn't forget Karen Prell. I'm old, is what it is. I'm 56. You can cut me some slack. Now, Karen Pearl's amazing. If you ever want a masterclass, just watch her performing Red. Some of the flat-out best puppeteering I've ever seen. All right, so you just slowly, and you don't do it all at once, because by the time you get to the end, the glue is going to be set. You just want to work in little stages. There you are. Just again, be careful. It gets a bit easier as the roll gets bigger because you've just got more insulation between the glue and your fingers. I clearly have done this a lot, so I'm just kind of used to it. Trying this for the first time, be mindful. Hot melt is still hot and melted. And I think the music has stopped again. Oh well. I'll sort that out in a second. I'm kind of in the middle of a thing. So I am making what I call a Greebly, which is it is my tribute to the Fraggles, basically. And I have been designing and building professional hand puppets for over 5 years now, and I run my own shop, and these are one of the types of puppets that I often will sell on my shop. And I'm building 2 of them right now this week for the shop. So that's what we're working on right now. A very fraggly type of creature. Thank you. I try. I've had enough experience now that I kind of know what I'm doing. At least I can fake it. Okay, we're getting to the end here, so you don't want to. You got to be careful to not have the feathers kind of get jammed down into the glue. You want them all kind of going in the same direction. And then we'll work on making them all floppy and spread out. Coming to the end here. So once you got the roll, this is why these feathers that are mounted on the ribbon are really handy for this purpose. Because you can just kind of do that, and then you've got a nice little bundle of feathers. So I am going to pair this with more of the fur that's on the body here. And let me grab some of that. This looks suspiciously like a certain someone, don't you think? I keep finding pieces of the Frankie fur that I didn't realize I had. This might still be remainders of what Frankie is made out of. So I'm sorry, Frankie, this is your skin. Yeah. You don't think I'm used to it by now? So this is definitely the last of it, though. I did a full inventory over the holidays, and this is definitely the last of this color fur that I have. So I may have got more at some point. This may not be the original batch that Frankie came from, but it's at least of the same stock. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I usually just cut like a circle. Well, we need 2 things. We need a circle for the kind of toupee. And we need a strip for the base of the feathers, because I find that like you don't want to show the ribbon. So I'll put some fur around that, and it kind of masks it. So I will start cutting the strip just by eyeballing it, and I always end up going wrong. So it's better to just draw a freaking line, follow the line. In terms of the thickness of the strip, I usually go with maybe an inch, maybe a bit more than an inch. One of those more is better than less kind of situations. And here we go. See, and we'll go down that far. I just want to make sure the lines are parallel. So the strip is even. That's my problem. This doesn't have to be long because you're gonna be rolling this up, right? So like about there is we'll get you there. I usually cut more than I need just in case. Too much is better than not enough. It's a little too thick. Let's go with that. And let's get the music back. Come on, Apple, what are you doing to me? Have you ever done mechs with springs or triggers? Yes to springs, no to triggers. Usually because if I'm building something for the shop, things like, and I've talked about this before, but it's worth going over again. Mechs in general, I tend to shy away from unless they're super robust because I am selling to the general public. And because of that, these things have to be really tough. And every time you introduce another moving part, that's something that not only can, but almost certainly will break eventually. And I don't want people getting mad and coming and screaming at me, because they spent, $400 on a puppet and it broke the first time they were a little bit aggressive with it. So if I do a mech, I have a standard design of an eyebrow mech that I use that I have made myself, that I 3D print, that is quite robust and I think would be very difficult to break. But things like springs and triggers, because you're always relying then on like hooking them onto something or attaching them to something and running a line, those almost certainly will break. This is why there are people on professional television sets that are puppet wranglers that are there to fix things when they break, and the word is when. So that's why I don't generally do mechs overall. But yeah, I have done the occasional spring return, because a spring return is relatively straightforward and simple and hard to break. The problem I've found with spring returns is that they can be noisy. The spring itself, the actual tension of the metal of the spring can actually make some noise. And that's not good. You don't want noisy puppets. So I generally just don't. And I often find that, at least with the eyebrow mech style that I have, it doesn't need a spring return. You generally have enough tension built into the system itself that will kind of hold it in place. It would definitely be fun to get into more of that stuff, but it's, again, one of those things where it's like I got to balance doing the stuff I'd like to do versus the stuff that pays the bills, And don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing the stuff that pays the bills as well. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. But it does mean that I have certain limitations. Not really limitations, just parameters to work within. Which is the same thing as limitations, Kevin. What are you doing? I saw a video of Jen Barnhart with a puppet being a girl, and the puppet closed her eyes for a second, and when you could hear a little click when she closed them. Yeah. We were talking about this, I think it was on the last build stream before the holidays. Somebody was saying they were watching a Sesame Street thing, and you could actually hear Big Bird's eyebrow mechs going. It's even worse when you use like servos and radio control stuff. They have some very good servos now that are quite quiet, but they're still, those are pretty pricey, obviously, and the thing that's available to most people are not going to be those, and those can be really loud. I'd love to hear like a doozer, like the original doozers that were radio-controlled Waldos. I just hear what those things sounded like, because I bet they were loud as heck. Okay. So now that we've got the fur strip cut, you want to look at the direction that the fur is going in, because I want it going in the same direction as the feathers. So if the feathers are pointed up, I want the fur to point up as well. And we're just I'm gonna do the same thing, lay down a bit of glue, roll it up, and I'm gonna roll it up so that the majority of it, well, in this case, is about halfway, but I want to make it sort of closer to the top edge than the bottom edge. We want to leave a good lip, the bottom edge here. Ethan, if you stand next to an animatronics that used to be Chuck E. Cheese, all you could hear was the pneumatic cylinders moving around. It was louder than the accompanying music in the audio. Yeah, exactly. Those things ain't quiet. And they get worse over time, obviously, as the lubricant wears out. And you gotta keep your puppets lubed. Hello. Okay, so we got a bit, and this doesn't take much because this is a very short travel distance, as it were. Put it on there, and I'll show you the reason why I always cut more than I need, rather than measuring it out. Because if you don't cut enough, then you've got a gap, right? Of course I like the Muppets, Dylan, and my name, once again, last time, is Kevin. Very nice to meet you. I should have a button for my lower third that just brings up the lower third. Yeah, so what I do is once I get to this point, I wonder if the close-up cam would be better for this. You know what? It's a pain in the butt. I'm not going to bother. Now I'll put the glue on the ribbon here rather than on the fur, and I'll just fold this over and then trim it, and I'll have the exact right amount of fur. There we go. Here, so while I'm holding this while the glue sets, we'll show Dylan. Do I like the Muppets? I don't know. Do I like the Muppets? I might like the Muppets. Question answered. Okay, so that glue is pretty set. You want to make sure that you want to give it some time to really set up before you trim this away, because you don't want the glue lifting away and then it gets all jammed down into the fur and everything. So once you're here, and I'm going to use my non-stick scissors for this just in case. I don't want to get good scissors near glue. Just going to trim this up, and you're always going to see a little bit of a join. And you just put that at the back, facing away from the front, which is how you define the back. Not enough or too much coffee. Take your pick. I'm going with not enough. Okay, so there we go. We've got it at this point now. There's a little bit of a gap here. So now I'm gonna put some glue down in here, and we're gonna fold this over until we've got kind of a little pom-pom. It's all kind of like just sort of stilled up like that. And this might be a little too much. I might have wanted to trim it if I hadn't started putting glue in already, Kevin. Oh well, we'll deal with it. We will handle things. Always do. I just kind of want to get it all. I want to hide the netting. That's the goal, is to hide all this netting. I hate seeing the netting. Ethan, I'm working on a video about the history of Antron fleece. Nice. So keep an eye open for that. I'll be discussing myths surrounding the fleece as well as stitches used. Oh, if you want an interview, I'm available. I want in. I want in on that. Get in touch with me, admin at operationpuppet.com. Seriously, I am so in. I was gonna do a whole video about that specifically and about like myth busting the you know what Stitch. Maybe that can morph into your thing. Seriously, I want to be the guy who gets known for like ruining the fantasy. Strange goal. Okay, so all I've done is I just kind of like mushed it all down in there. And so when this goes on the head, it will just be nice and, you see? Nice and clean. Getting it nice and clean, that's the goal. Hiding the not nice stuff and putting your best foot forward. Okay, so there's our little crest. This is what's gonna go directly behind the eyes. And then behind that, we're gonna put a little circle of the fur. That's 3 different puppet builders what the Henshin Stitch is, and you will get 3 different answers, like even within the Henshin company. We're gonna talk, my friend. I got feelings. I feel ways about those things. I have evidence. I can bring receipts. Don't you worry. We got this. Here we go, Kevin, stirring up trouble again. Where'd my Sharpie go? Right in front of me. Thank you. Yes, it's you know, I've had a bit of practice. This is probably in the, well, I don't know that I've hit triple digits in terms of how the total number of puppets that I've made, but we're in the mid-hundreds of puppets at this point. We're probably rounding up to 3-ish or 4-ish hundred. I haven't really been counting, to be honest. But, I just use it. This is a tin of spray adhesive. This is a conveniently sized circle, that's all. And once I get my conveniently sized circle, I also give it a border. I'll show you why momentarily. And I just eyeball because it's fur, it's forgiving. I remember you debunking the Henshin Stitch on a prior live stream. Yeah. Even the last time I watched your stream, it was months ago. I know. Oh, this has been a thing for a while. Every pro puppet builder eventually gets to the point where, you know, once you find out about the history of what that actually is, which is nothing, FYI, it's a revelation. And then every time you hear somebody talking about it afterwards, it's just like, you have to fight your nerd instincts to be the reply guy and correct everybody. Actually, there's no such thing as the Henshin Stitch. It's true, there isn't. Thank Don Celine. Don Celine is the origin of the myth. Oh, we're gonna talk. We are gonna talk. Actually, yeah. Maybe we could do it like got my witness protection program. Right? We've asked a local puppet builder who's asked to remain anonymous. The truth is, there is no Henshin Stitch. Huh? Come on, you know you want to. Okay, we've got our circle. What do I wish for OPE 2025? Survival. To be honest, it's just getting through it. I think like everybody else, it's going to be a tough year for a lot of reasons, but you know, hopefully I'll just maintaining is the goal. I've kind of given up on growth. That's not even a thing, but just being able to get through it. I mean, that I think is at least an achievable goal. Jane Gutnick was once asked about the Henson stitch, and her response basically, I mean, I've been here 15 years and I've never heard the term. Yeah. We'll talk about this on the actual video, Ethan, but there's a great interview. I'm sure I've mentioned this a few dozen times before with, let me see, it was, oh golly, I've forgotten, Bonnie Erickson and a few of the people who worked at the old Muppet Studios. And of course, and it was with the Museum of the Moving Image. And of course, at some point, you know, they did audience questions, and eventually they came around to, all right, so what is the Henson stitch? And they all just busted out laughing. Right? And they basically said exactly what you just said. It depends on who you ask. Bonnie, Caroline, Raleigh, thank you. Yes, Raleigh Cruson, Caroline Wilcox, yes. This is a great interview. I think it was one of the last things that Carolee Wilcox did before she passed away. R.I.P. One of my puppet building heroes. She made the best Kermits ever. She's who I tried to use as the inspiration for mine. Okay, don't put the glue away. You need that. You know what? Rather than a lozenge, I'm going to go for gum. That's probably a good idea on a mic, right? Sugar-free. For the diabetics among me. Okay. So, here we go. It's starting to come together. We're nearing the finish line. Where are we, time-wise? Hour 34. Okay. We'll be finishing one for sure. Definitely not two. All right, are we on the overhead? We are on the overhead cam. So let's see, I gotta stand up for this. So, we've got our puppet here. And first thing I'm gonna do, and this is a really inadvisable way of doing this. I do this for speed. This is not the best way to do this. If you're going to do this seriously, you either want to stitch this down or you want to like use contact cement or some kind of adhesive that isn't this. I'm going to use hot glue. It's one shot. This is the thing. We got one chance to get this right, and if you don't, you've messed the whole thing up. I thankfully have had enough experience doing this that I probably won't get it wrong, but there's always a chance. And you'll be lucky enough to see it. All right, so the crest is gonna go on the top of the head, kind of put there. So that's the first thing. Now, when you're working with hot glue like this, you kind of have to be ready because a lot of the time you need to hold the thing in place while the glue cools and sets. That is the case here. This is where having another pair of arms would come in real handy. Let me see, maybe this would be the better camera for it. Definitely looks better on this camera. But I'm gonna put my hand inside. Hello. I look familiar a bit. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll fix that in a second. Okay. So I want to make sure I know where the back is on this. Now, I could either put the glue on the hair or on the head, right? Should I use the contact page on the Operation Puppet website, or is there a different email I can use? So the contact page on the Operation website goes to admin@operationpuppet.com. So either is fine. I'll get it to the same destination either way. Yeah, it's Kermit in a Wookiee costume. Yeah, except for something happened to his hands. I mean, what's going on? Yeah, okay. So I think in this case, I'm gonna put the glue on the head because I can hold this steady and not have the glue run, right? We're only gonna use a bit, I'm not gonna use a lot. Because you don't want it to pool and then run and then go all over the place. So I'm just gonna put a little dab right on the very top. And this is why you kind of need to just take what you get, because there's no second chances. You gotta just eyeball it, stick it on, and there. So I'm pressing this down, and I'm pressing it up from the inside as well. So that glue is gonna melt a little bit of the synthetic materials, and then when it sets up, it's gonna be really strong. Because this is fibrous material, this is one of the few things that hot glue is actually good for. But yeah, we just have to sit here and wait for this to set up. And if you take your hand away too soon, this can pull off, and then you're gonna have like semi-liquid hot glue all over the puppet, and it will be a huge mess, and you will probably ruin it. So you need to be patient with this point, and just enjoy the lovely chill beats. Druid Greebly, there we go, that's good, I like that. Gotta give him some like blue tattoos. Pictish Greebly. Yep. So, how y'all doing? Welcome to the exciting puppet building stream where we watch glue dry. Yeah, I think we're kind of in the safety zone now. I want to be extra sure. The time you invest now is time that you save later. Okay, here we go. Now, I am gonna sort of mess with this a little bit after we're done. But the next step is our little toupee here, and this is gonna go on back here, kind of like that. Maybe the overhead cam would be better for this. Because this is something I had to sort of shove the butt exciting. I know, right? It's dramatic. I had to work out how to do this with one hand because I need the other hand inside the puppet so I can sort of brace it and hold it. The mullet portion there, exactly, right? Hey, you know, it's based on designs from the 80s. Of course, it's a mullet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put glue, and I'm gonna make sure I have enough glue, which I don't. Let me just get another stick here. One of the worst things to do is sort of like run out of the ability to add more glue partway into this. Top knot in the front, party in the back, yes. Feathers in the front. I'm gonna put glue, just sort of like a rim of glue around here. Oh, I was talking through this, yeah. So I fold down and glue down just the leading edge here. So when this goes on the head, you don't see the netting. Right, and I only need to do that at the front where the netting is actually showing. At the back where it's laying down, this will cover the netting. So that's the only need to do that. I've shown that before on stream. Anyway, so I'm gonna put glue around the edges and then a little bit swirling down to a spiral in the middle, and then we're gonna pop it on, hold it down, and then wait. And this is where you kind of gotta just hope that you get it centered. This is why this is a bad way to do this. If I had the time, I would stitch it, because with at least stitching, which is a nightmare, by the way. Stitching fur is just the worst. At least then if you make a mistake, you can undo it. This is not undoable. So you just gotta take what you get. it has its faults. So we're gonna add in some glue, and you gotta work relatively fast because the glue is gonna set up. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Don't get any glue down in the fibers of the fur. And then we kind of flip it around. Hope for that's mostly center, that looks okay. And then we hold it down. And now we wait. Again, this looks like I'm torturing the poor creature. On camera, this is like, all right, talk. No, you'll never get the secret of the Henson stitch out of me. Oh, somebody clip that. Things get dark. Puppet versus puppeteer wrestling, yeah. All right, we're in pretty good shape here, actually. Comedy gold, what can I say? Okay. This isn't bad. I'm gonna this'll stay at least now. Just, you don't want to be careful and pull this up because, yeah, I know the eyes. Don't worry, that's the last thing. The very last thing is adding the pupils, and then you'll see a real difference. It'll suddenly spring to life. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back on the stand here. The stand being a paper towel holder. And we will move the glue because we're kind of done with that. Now, the last thing. Well, second last thing. We've got it like this, but maybe we should go to this camera. No camera is perfect for any of this. Because these feathers are kind of poking straight up, I kind of want them to sort of lay down a little bit, flop them down. And the way you do that is these are feathers, right? So this is the kind of, I don't know what it's called, like the sort of central core of the feather. You literally just want to kind of crack those and break them. Don't all the way, obviously, just kind of like make them relax a little bit. So the way I do it is I just get down in there and just start like pushing it around. And, I've never done claymation, no. Super interested in it though. And the more you do this, you just keep kind of working it. There's other ways to accomplish a kind of floppier style of feather. Other ways of laying this in. This is just the quick way that I've come up with. You just kind of want, it's funny. You just kind of want to break those fibers down, and eventually this will kind of relax down and be more floppy and sort of full. It's already much more full than it was before. So anyway, that's how I do that. And then we can kind of, tease this up so it doesn't look quite so mulletish. You just play around with it. See what you can come up with. But the last thing is, of course, the pupils. So what I always do for doing the pupils, and this is where things can get very, very, very fiddly, is I'll take a chip clip and I'll close the mouth. And these as much as it wants to close. He's pretty adorable. Even without pupils, even the undead Greebly here is on the cute side of the scale at least. Okay, so there we go. Don't worry, I've got a good camera, like a really good camera, that after the pupils are on, I'll switch to the really good camera and then you can see it for real. All these cameras are just kind of meh, so, you're not seeing this at its best. So now we want the pupils. Now the pupil placement is the thing that really matters. And you always want, this is as a general rule, you want what's called a point of convergence. You want the pupils to be a little bit cross-eyed so that they form, and this is another myth is about the magic triangle. That's another thing that doesn't exist. But the origin of the magic triangle myth is that you want a point of convergence. If you were to draw lines out from where the pupils are coming, you'd want them to meet at a certain point. And this is how you get eye focus on the puppet. Have you tried sculpting patterns, etc.? I'm currently interested in sculpting the head for a future puppet myself. I haven't done sculpting, like clay maquetting, but what I have done, I have it here, is I've 3D printed forms that I've done tape patterns from. Getting and using clay for me is a bit of a chore, so I don't. But if I do have a sort of shape that I want to make a pattern for, I will often 3D print a kind of shell and then tape maquette off of that, which is a very similar process. Okay, so I got some pupils already cut, I believe, in the tongue bucket. Let's see, these might be a little big. Let's see. So my pupils I often make out of sticky back velvet, which is just like, it's a flocked paper, basically. Flock you, paper. These might be a little large. We may be making some pupils here. Let me just have a look. I'm gonna like have them back to the camera so you don't see this. This is the big reveal right here. Oh, these are way too big. Okay, we need some smaller pupils. Let's make some smaller pupils. This is gonna get fun and loud. So this is the stuff I use. Oh, maybe we should get a different sheet for that. That's almost spent. I have another one that's readily available. Not really. Should have planned ahead. I know I have more of this. It's just probably buried somewhere. All that cleaning I did over the holidays. Oh, wait, I think I found it. Let's see, what's in here? Timothy Leary, puppet, yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. This is all sticky back velvet. This will do. It's got a bunch of fur all over it, but we can clean that off. Okay, I'm pretty sure I got this stuff on Amazon. It's basically a big sticker, but it's this side is velvet and this side is a sticker. This is what I always use for my pupils because they are indeed removable, because you often will want to reposition them. Give me 1 second. I gotta leave the room and get the lint brush. Every puppet building workshop needs one of these because fur gets everywhere. So like this, there's a bunch of fur all over this. Just hit it with the lint brush. Hey, I didn't know PeerTube supports chats and live streams. It's a third-party plugin that has come a long way. It's actually got really robust. I am impressed. But yes, it is a third-party plugin, so it will be in the plugin section. They don't support it natively, but they don't really need to because the third-party plugin is quite well done, as you can see. And thank you for joining me on PeerTube. I love my PeerTube peeps. Oh, now the other cat has come in to yell at me. This is unusual. She'll never, I won't be able to get her up on stream because she hates being picked up and she will not sit in laps. Can I show you from the camera? Hang on, maybe we can get Dax on camera this way. It's the internet. You gotta have cats on the. You see, there she is down by the chair. There she is, out of focus, Dax. Oh, there we go. Dax has come to say hello. Yes, I have two cats. This is the other one. Hi. Yeah, you saying hello to the people? Look at my messy, messy chair. Oh, goodness. You got a lot to say. All right, can I get back to work, please? You've taken my chair now. Thank you. Puppets. Puppets and cats. What are you going to do? Anyway, we'll see. Jimmy, I don't know. We don't really know. I think Jimmy's definitely got a bit of Siamese in him because he's very vocal. And he's got the Siamese kind of head shape. But I don't know what, we got them both at Toronto Animal Services, which is like a rescue, or was a rescue thing. And so I think there's a bit of everything, including alligator. Okay. So here's a question for you. I do have 2 cats. If you go back and watch the VOD, you'll see the first one. Jimmy showed up earlier in the stream. This is what happens when I leave my door open as I'm working. I can just get cats wandering in and yelling at me. Building critters while living with critters, exactly. So, Adam Savage recently did, not recently, I guess a year ago or so, or more than that, did a whole video about this on tested.com. I've been showing it for years. Adam, you just should have talked to me. Let's say we've got a sheet of something and we need to make a perfect circle. How do you do that? This is what the pros use. This is what they use at Henson Workshop. These are industrial hole punches of various sizes. And I think we'll pick the 1/2 inch. Maybe the 3/8. No, we'll try it. Start with the 3/8 and see what happens. So, you got a cap. You got this is a big heavy chunk of metal. You make a fist and punch it. You're not far wrong, and you'll see in a moment probably, because what I have learned with this sticky back velvet, excuse me, my throat started to give out. More lozenge, less gum. Actually, not a bad idea. What I have come to experience with the sticky back velvet is that over time, if you've got it sitting around long enough, with an open package, this will start absorbing like atmospheric moisture, and it will become nearly impossible to punch through the standard way. So the standard way of doing this is you select the size of die that you want. You put this down, actually we'll put it this way, on the surface, and then you get a hammer, or even better, a mallet. And you go bang, 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 and you punch out a circle. I have found that when this absorbs enough moisture, it's nearly impossible to get through this, or my dies just need to be sharpened. Probably a bit of both. But let's see if we can get through it, but you've got to get through it cleanly. You can't sort of leave. That's why there are some here that have like partly been cut and then didn't get cut all the way through, and then you just have to abandon it. It never looks right. So let's see if we can get this, because if we don't, then we have to get violent, and then that's the fun part. Also, it can hurt. All right, let's see. Now, this is a cutting mat under here, by the way. Oh, we got one. We got one. It worked. Okay, good. Maybe this one hasn't absorbed that much moisture. Oops. No, they dropped it. So what I'll usually do is to get it out of there, just poke it with a pin. And there we go. There's our little pupil. Ready to go. So, of course, we need 2. Let's see if we can do that again. This is by far the preferred method. Remember to yell noise. Yeah, I really should have. I usually warn my wife, at least, before I do this. She knows by now. Oh, he's making pupils again. Hey, we got 2. Okay, now we'll see if these are the right size. I'm not sure that they are. I might want to go, I think I probably need ones that are between the big ones I had before, and then these might be a little too small, but we'll see. And again, it also depends on the kind of character you're going for. This will affect the character. Size of pupil is a big character factor. So I'm gonna go over to this camera again. I'm gonna sort of hide. Yeah, these are a little small. I'm going to try it with the size up. From that, I'll go to the 1/2 inch. And we'll just, that was the 3/8. We're going to go with the 1/2 inch. The bigger ones were the 5/8. These are the ones, I mean, you can, this is the one that I've used the most, and it's got the dullest cutting edge on it. So this is probably why I have problems. But I guess we'll see. All right, this I may have to get, clean this up a little bit. Maybe it'll cut better. I don't even know how you sharpen these things. These are, because they're circles, right? They're weird. All right, let's see. Nope, that one didn't go. It's definitely the sharpness of my cutting edge. Okay, we'll try one more and then we're gonna have to do it the hard way. Come on. Nope. No, that one didn't go either. I'm knocking stuff off my table. Okay, so the hard way, the only other way that I have found to do this is you just gotta use more force. So it's a matter of taking this and going bang and just giving it. There could be a shock wave and it can hurt a little bit. So I'm actually gonna take my bracelet and ring off because that can hurt. All right, here we go. And you're just gonna go like hard and fast, just like wham. I'm also gonna put it on a slightly thicker cutting surface. I don't want to damage my table. All right, I'm gonna stand up for this one. Here we go. Oh goodness, it didn't work. Still didn't get all the way through. Oh no. There's 1, 2, yaha! You never thought the puppet building live stream would be so dramatic, would you? Okay, mission accomplished. Harvesting eyes is brutal. Yep, you said it. I mean, you didn't expect it not to be, did you? Okay, here we go. We are, my Apple Watch just said, it looks like you've taken a hard fall. Would you like us to call emergency services? I had to say, no, don't call the ambulance. Oh, wow. I should take my watch off the next time I do that. Hilarious. Goodness, there's been some moments in this stream. Oh, don't drop it. Where'd it go? Oh no. I can't do this again. Oh no, I think I lost one. Uh-oh. Heaven. There it is. Oops. Okay, these are definitely gonna be the right size. Guaranteed, 100%. Good thing I got a compressor on the mic, huh? I hope it worked. Oh, that was exciting. It's a little too exciting, to be honest. Okay. Here we go. Oops, wrong camera. My wife, everybody, Margaret, you're hammering from the other room and you head to YouTube to see what your spouse is up to. Yep. Welcome to domestic bliss, honey. Okay. It's fine. It's all fine. Okay, let me just, yeah, I'm intentionally hiding this. Oh, perfect. Okay, here we go. These are right. All right. So, They freaking better be. It didn't actually hurt that time. I have straight up gone like, ah! Like I punched the guy, but it's just velvet. It's like I punched velvet. So I'm trying very carefully to take the sticker off the back, and then I'm going to stick it onto a pin. As you can see, we're stuck onto a pin here. This is important because we're going to be repositioning it. So I'm just going to take it and kind of loosely position it about where I think it should go. Right? And all of a sudden, you can see all of a sudden the difference it makes, right? If you need first aid, use the safe word. It's all good. Everything's fine. We're all fine here now. How are you? We're actually at over 2 hours. We're just over 2 hours now. This is it for the stream. Well, you know what? This is it. This is the last thing. Perfect timing. What do you know? Okay, I'm gonna put the other one about where I think it should go. And then what you always want to do is look at it from different angles, look at it in a camera because the image is flipped. Comatose Duck, new follower. Hello, nice to see you. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the workshop. Welcome to the puppet pit. This one I think has to, this is why you put the pin on, so you can lift it off and then just kind of readjust it. And millimeters matter here. You really have to dial this in very, very carefully. That will do for now. I always go back and fiddle with it till I get it unquestionably as perfect as it can be. But there we go. Look at all of a sudden it's got life, right? Just that little thing, and suddenly, boom, it's a character. So for the last thing, let's have a look in the good camera. Yeah, Comatose.com, I'm afraid you're a little bit late. The stream is about to end, but welcome. I do this every week, so hopefully we'll be able to catch it a little bit earlier next week. And if not, there's always the VOD. It's always available. So let me go to, I hope this works. This may get weird. Yeah, I thought, well, you know what? We'll leave the picture-in-picture up. It's fun to see. So here's the good camera. There's Nigel up there. You can see Nigel. I don't know where the focal point is on this. This may be bad. Looks like he has a needle in his eye. I know, it's a bit brutal, right? Okay, let's see, where's our, there we go. Okay, yep. Our focus is okay. Hello, I'm new. Nice to meet you. So there we go. There is one Greebly. All done. And you can see like just the movement that those feathers give, right? It's all about the secondary motion. All right, well, I guess I should, you okay, buddy? You look kind of strung out. I think I should go help him. I'll be right back. There we go. There's one finished Greebly. Not bad for the first stream of 2025. This is how 2025 is going to go, everybody. You're scared. You have a right to be scared, but this is what it's going to end up as. I'm just trying to give you hope. All right, that'll do it. Good heavens, it better. Welcome to the build streams for 2025. Whole bunch of new people. That's great to see. Thank you so much. OperationPuppet.com has all of the links. I do these every week. There's videos, there's tutorials, there's a podcast. We will be recording the podcast, Pixels and Puppets, this Friday. And yeah, lots of stuff. So thank you, everybody. This has been a hoot. This was a good one. My day started out bad, but it got good. So thank you very much. Once again, I never know how to end these things, but it's time for my lunch, so I'm going to go and eat lunch. Have a very good rest of your week. Hopefully you'll listen to the podcast when it comes out on Saturday, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Have a good one, everybody.